Welcome to the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. In this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell. We are here breaking down everything you need to know about Olympic basketball, about Nick Castellanos, and even a very funny comment that was left on our YouTube channel. And we're going to tell you about that in a minute. And that's the bottom line because Tanner Kern said so. Grant, welcome to the show. I kind of messed the intro up, but who cares?
It was still a good intro. It just wasn't the one what you normally do. What do you certified G bona fide stud can't teach that? And this is G Money Grant Mitchell. That's what you do, right?
It's a variation of that every time. But you know what? We changed it up today. We're getting a little more fresh because you know what we got to evolve as the time goes. So we'll go back to that Thursday, maybe, but maybe not. I'm keeping the people on their toes.
Yeah, keeping the people on their toes. How was your weekend, Tanner?
It was good. Just kind of hung out, watched the Red Sox get destroyed last night, like 5 or 6 home runs for the Dodgers. I played one of the boosts on Fanatics. It was Ohtani and Devers to get a hit, and now Devers is 0 for 9 and is past 9 at bat. So he's a disgrace to the game of baseball. He's probably like 0 for 12 in his last 12 at bats. Honestly, I love Rafael Devers. He literally has the worst eye at the plate. He is swinging at everything. It could be a curveball 10 feet outside the zone, and he's swinging at it. Ohtani hit a 470-foot piss missile the other night. So that was pretty crazy. And then I played college football, 25. UConn. The UConn dynasty looks pretty good right now, pretty strong. Coming off a bowl game win, so feeling good.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ohtani's power has never really been in question, but I'm sure you saw that one he had at the All-Star game, and then the one he had the other night. Like, I just can't fathom being that strong. He is hitting them into orbit. They are flying.
He takes hacks, like, and Rafael Devers too. Like, he takes hacks as well, but Ohtani only takes like good hacks. Like, you're gonna get when you get Ohtani chasing, it's like a couple inches outside the zone up. But Devers is swinging at stuff that's like feet outside the zone. So Ohtani's got a really good eye too, which also makes him dangerous. And he seems like he looks one pitch, one spot. Like, if I get a ball up in the zone, I am going to swing as hard as I possibly can.
You know what I love about Ohtani's swing? You know what my favorite part is?
What?
It's right as the ball is about to come out of the pitcher's hand, he goes up on that front toe and he just wiggles it. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but he just wiggles his foot around. It's like he's waiting. You can tell he's waiting to kill that ball.
Yeah. You know the problem, though, with these superstars in today's game?
What was that?
In every game, honestly. So I was talking to a little kid that I know, and I was asking him who his favorite athletes were. And don't make it creepy. All right. Don't make it creepy. Okay.
You could have said like my nephew or something like that.
I don't want to reveal that information. I don't want to reveal that information. But okay. It was a little kid that I guess is part of the family. I don't know. Can be. Depends on the day. But he said his favorite athletes, like, what's your favorite sports teams? He goes, Chiefs and Dodgers. Who's your favorite athletes? Mahomes and Ohtani. Like, come on, man. Like, you got to be a little more original than that.
Yeah, I mean, when you're a little kid, I guess it's, how little we talking?
Like 7 or 8.
He's getting into sports. Like, those are your favorite athletes are going to be the best players. When you're a kid, I can understand that.
No, it's a problem.
If he grows up and he's supporting the Chiefs, the Dodgers, I don't know, the Celtics, like, then it starts to become okay. We got to dial this back. Like, wherever you're from, it's supposed to be wherever you're from, unless you have ties to other teams, that's your team.
He shouldn't like Ohtani and Mahomes. That's crazy. You gotta be better than that. But anyways, Grant, what'd you do this weekend?
I did really not a whole lot. The girlfriend was out of town, so I pretty much sat in front of my desk this entire weekend. You know, I've got some big stuff in the works for the project I've been working on. So we had some huge revamps, some huge overhauls going on over there. So I spent a lot of time, putting in the blood, sweat, and tears. And then I actually did get some tears out in NCAA because it was stressful. And I'm not gonna lie, I was on fire this weekend. I went like 7-1 online. The only game I lost, and this pissed me off, was a time expiring 50-yard, basically a Hail Mary touchdown pass my opponent threw. I was winning with 0 on the clock and ended up losing that game. So that one sucked, but we got the dynasty going with the boys, the online dynasty going on Sunday. I am the University of Houston. I got a game against FAU in our new league. We're the new Big 12. I know it doesn't make sense, but we kind of just had to put us somewhere. But I got a game against them this week, and yeah, it's pretty much how it went.
Yeah, well, you got to play better prevent defense. Can't help you if you give a 50-yard touchdown pass last play of the game.
So I was using it wasn't a Hail Mary, it wasn't just 4 verticals, but it was a couple of posts and crosses and stuff like that. And I was using the other side of the field, and I had it defended well. My defender, I think it was my free safety. When the guy caught the ball, he caught it at like the 5-yard line. My free safety hit him as he caught it, which I thought should have made him drop it anyway. That didn't happen, and the guy broke the tackle, and then he walked in. So, I mean, what can you do?
What can you do, Grant? But anyways, you can subscribe to Ride the Line, WSN. Smash it. Follow the show. We're here every Monday and Thursday posting new episodes. The Caitlin Clark content's been hot. We're keeping it going today on the show. We're going to talk about that in a minute. We had a comment on our last show, which was like a well thought out comment. And if this guy's watching, like, we do appreciate any comment that you have, but also like people have way too much time on their hands. If you're dedicating this much time to a comment on Ride the Line, you probably got to get something else going. Sorry.
Yeah, and that's what's the most interesting part about this, because the guy's basically telling us neither one of us are grown men and we don't know how to live adult lives, and yet he's leaving a comment like this.
He also complimented us a little bit. Like I felt there were some moments where he's like, you guys got potential though.
It was just a weird comment. And for the audience who doesn't know what we're talking about, allow me to read it to you. So this guy said, I'm not going to say his name, but I mean, it says it in his name if you want to go look at it.
Yeah.
So his comment reads, I stumbled onto this video, and young men these days, fascinating. My lovely wife and I have 5 kids, so this gaming stuff isn't new to me. We were talking about NCAA, but it's just as weird now as it was all those years ago. I'll never forget the first time I saw a YouTube's channel that was some kid watching another kid play video games. I asked my kids, what on earth was I witnessing? And they explained this is like most of the interwebs, and I sat in stunned silence for a while. So listen, guys, here comes my predictable 48-year-old man advice that you didn't even know you needed and wanted. Knock it off. Nix your baseball style cap. He was talking to Tanner. Tanner was wearing a baseball. Pull your pants up. I don't know how he saw our pants. Remove yourself from my damn lawn. Then get a damn job and stop gaming. Men walk around tightening loose screws, providing unneeded physical protection to their families, and groping their hot wives with verbal consent. I also just heard y'all bring up gambling. This one I'm serious about. Stop gambling right now. It's ruining so many lives as it expands more and more recently. Don't gamble, don't game, do touch boobs. It's time to level up. That's a gamer term, right? To actual manhood and grow an unironic beard so you can go outside and change your car's oil yourself, and follow that up with some roof and gutter maintenance. End comment.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Like, that was a well thought out comment. Like,
there are a couple parts that confuse me. Okay. Grope your hot wife with verbal consent. Okay. If I'm not married, I do have a girlfriend, you have a girlfriend. I just don't want to use the term grope about somebody I care about. It feels a little, the connotation of grope isn't as nice. It just feels a little slimy almost. And then what else? With verbal consent, if you're dating somebody, I hope you would have their consent. You know what I mean? That just seems like it goes together. He then later doubles down and says, touch boobs, which I guess goes back to the groping thing, which fair enough. Most men do like boobs. I'm not going to complain about boobs. And then what else? He says, grow an unironic beard. Neither one of us have a beard. I don't know about you. My beard makes my face itch. I start to get little pimples when I grow it too long. So, I mean, that's my reason. Change your car's oil. I know how to change my car's oil. I don't know about you do. And then roof and gutter maintenance. I live in an apartment building. I'm not going to go climb up to the 17th floor and clean the roof. So that does it for me. I think I checked all the boxes there.
Yeah, I mean, I like to play video games. I like to gamble. So, it was stupid ass comment. Not gonna lie, it was a dumb comment. But I appreciate it. I appreciate it. We could flip it back on the guy and be like, well, what are you commenting this long for? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, if you just go, maybe he's trying to instill his wisdom upon the younger generations. but like go start a support group. Go the Boys and Girls Club of America.
This is my thing too. He said we're wasting our time playing video games, but he apparently sat there and listened to 30 minutes of us talking about playing video games, which in my opinion would probably be an even bigger quote unquote waste of time.
Yeah, you're not winning any national championships here. You could do that on college football 25. You would be a national champion on college football 25. You know, college football 25 though has taken over the world. Everyone is playing that game.
You saw what Mahomes did, right? He brought a TV to training camp for the first time in his career just to play.
Yeah, it's wild. It's absolutely wild. And it's great. It's an unbelievable game. I know we're not going to talk about it again, but the flow of this game, it just makes you feel some type of way, honestly. When you're running like speed option in this game, it feels so good. I don't like read option, but speed's awesome in this game. Bench is my favorite passing route. You go the two outs.
Yeah.
Like that's unstoppable.
RPO alert bubble. That one's really good.
Yeah, any bubble is great.
What's is it called? Is it a power option? The one where you snap it and your quarterback like takes like 2 or 3 steps to the side, but he's still facing forward.
Power read, yeah, that's
that one's good. That one's good.
It's really good. The read option stuff's a little like not great though, because sometimes you get tackles blocking the read guy, or they'll get caught up and then the read guy's held up. So you like the right read is to pull it, but since he's caught up so long, it doesn't work out. So it's a fun game. But anyways, we appreciate this guy's comment. He can leave another one here. When we talk about the U.S. women's basketball team being probably one of the biggest disgraces to this country we've ever seen in our lives. First off, let me put the time marker down so we know where we're at. But first off, they're going to win the gold medal. You could send a high school JV team and probably win the gold medal in basketball at the Women's Olympics. Just saying. The competition is not super stiff. With that being said, though, it does not look good to get beat by the backup WNBA All-Stars at all. Looks terrible. And don't tell me Team USA didn't want to win this game. I mean, you got Breanna Stewart playing 31 minutes. 31 minutes. You got Asia Wilson playing 29. Diane Taurasi, washed up Taurasi playing 20. Chelsea Gray, 11. Jewel Lloyd, 13. And then they did sprinkle the bench. But same thing with the Team WNBA. Like, everyone played in this game, but both teams wanted to win. And the fact that the USA lost to Team WNBA, we kind of knew it would potentially happen here. And we've seen it in the WNBA. Literally any team can win on any given day. But this is not a good look, especially when you don't send Caitlin Clark, who's the absolute star, to the Olympics.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also, just if you look at the other top snubs, I think for me personally, if Caitlin Clark wasn't the number 1 snub, then Arika Ogunbowale was. She had 34 points and 6 assists in this game, went 8 of 13 for 3. She clearly wanted to be there. Angel Reese gave a little comment. They were talking about, or somebody asked her, how was it being on a team with Caitlin Clark for the first time? Because they were obviously on the Team WNBA here. And she said, it's great. I hope we're on the same team again 4 years from now, talking about the next Olympics. So Angel Reese clearly wanted to be there. She had a double-double, 12 points, 11 rebounds in this game. So she wanted to play. To your point, though, I mean, it wasn't just the WNBA team wanting it and Team USA not. I mean, like you said, Breanna Stewart played 31 minutes, had 31 and 10. Ajay Wilson played, really well. Sabrina Ionescu got 21 minutes. Like, they wanted to win. Was the score a little bit higher than in most games? Sure. Was the defense a little lower? Sure. But the offensive intensity was there. Diana Taurasi had that comment after the game where they picked her up basically saying this effing sucks. We shouldn't want to lose like this, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, it's just not a good look. And this whole situation with Caitlin Clark, I feel like we've talked about it for months now. The whole bottom line is just, it's not a good look. And that's what it was again.
No, it's a terrible look for them. And Caitlin Clark's like, I need a break. Like, I don't think she would even want to go to the Olympics this year. There's going to be plenty of Olympics because she's so tired and worn out, just dating back to the national championship run, even 2 years ago, going to the, the Final Four, whatever. Not national championship run, but NCAA tournament run. And looking at this game as a whole here, I don't know why they do this, but you're basically setting the USA up for failure because you're putting like an all snub team together basically, and you're having them go out and say, in this year especially, and I know you wouldn't do this in a non-USA basketball year, but the WNBA schedule is horrendous. They don't have to play till August 15th now, I believe, or like middle of August, which is one stupid because now you're going to compete against football. And I know you have to do it because of the Olympics, but you're saying to this team WNBA, this is your last game for a month. You were snubbed from the US team and now you get to go play them in a game. Like it's just, it's so stupid if you want USA to be like high going into the Olympics.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. The only other thing that I can remember there's been a situation like this where you have a break in the middle of the year, excluding COVID, like with the NBA, you know, they played 3-4 months, however it was, and then they had 3 months off, and then they go to the bubble, not counting that. The only other thing I can remember kind of like this was international soccer, the Premier League, Bundesliga, all that. They started the 2022 season, and then in November, they went to the World Cup. So all of them had a month or so off while that happened. And then they all went back. But the only reason that happened was because the World Cup was in Qatar and it was 120 degrees. So they couldn't hold it in the middle of the summer like they normally do. They had to push it back. And again, it's a one-off. That's not something they're used to. This is built into the WNBA schedule. 4 years from now, it's going to be the same situation. You're going to have to break in the middle of the year to go to the Olympics. And like you said, in this case where it is the snubs last game for a month and then you get to go home and rest while you get to also prove to the world, hey, I should have been on this team. It doesn't make sense. It's a disservice to the members of Team USA.
Yeah, you're putting them not in an unwinnable situation, but you're putting them in a situation where they're only a 6.5 point favorite. So it's just it's not a good spot at all. And they're going to win the gold.
There's nothing to gain and there's everything to lose.
Nothing to gain, everything to lose, injuries. All you got to play hard to win this game. And if they win, they're kind of supposed to win. They should beat the all snub team. But the WNBA schedule, it's another topic we can brush on for a minute here. I don't know why they did what they did, leaving Caitlin Clark off the Olympic team. Again, this has nothing to do with talent because when it comes down to talent right now, she probably wasn't the next person on the list, even though she's had the assist. She's done she's got really good numbers and her numbers probably deserve to be on the team at the halfway point. I would say
tied for third in MVP odds, I think.
Yeah. So obviously she should be on it from a stats, but there are girls who I would say have the advantage when it comes to just playing and more time and more experience in WNBA. But when it comes to social media attention and the attention that would be covered from the U.S. team, you need to bring attention to this U.S. women's team because nobody cares in the sense of this is not going to be a competitive tournament for the U.S. They're going to cruise to it. They're minus 3,000, I think, to win the whole thing. It's not going to be tough. And now if you get USA men's basketball having a little challenge against South Sudan, right? If this happens in the Olympics, more people are going to have eyes on that, which they already do because it's the men. And then you're taking a month off and coming back into a WNBA schedule right when football starts. So the best thing for them would have been put Caitlin Clark on the team, potentially put Angel Reese on the team if you had room. I don't know if you could have, probably not. But then you're rolling in. U.S. wins a gold medal. Caitlin Clark's covered. You're rolling into the second half of the WNBA schedule high instead of trying to pick up and start from ground zero.
Yeah, I agree. And going back to the start of the year, of course, the WNBA has broken viewership records and attendance records. But you remember there was that report that despite the huge influx, the WNBA was still projected to lose 50 million or whatever. That just goes back to this point. You need to grow the game as much as you can. And sure, their bottom line financially is definitely going to be helped by the new media rights deal. That's absolutely going to make a huge impact. But who's going to turn down the opportunity to grow the game, to make more money, to get more sponsorships and all that stuff? It's just a missed opportunity at the end of the day. That's what it is.
Yeah. Would you have had them play a few games? I'm not saying a full schedule, but a game a week during this lapse period?
You mean the WNBA?
Yeah.
I just don't. So here again, I go back to soccer because while the World Cup was an anomaly, there's something called AFCON. It's the African Cup of Nations. And so in the middle of the Premier League, the German League, the Spanish League, whatever, et cetera, while that is going on, African players who are selected will go back to their countries. And they basically have it's basically like how we just had the Copa America. It's that, but for Africa. So the leagues will continue in England and Spain and Italy and all that, but the African players will just be gone. So I don't know I understand why they would put the WNBA on pause because theoretically the top 12 players are all missing. Top 15 players are all missing. So you want to pause it there. Some of the coaches are gone as well. But at the same time, is a precedent where you can maintain a league even without some of the top players in it. Like, for example, Liverpool has been one of the best teams in England for the past 6-7 years. And for a while, their two best players were both African, Mo Salah and Sadio Mane. And then when that time of year came around and they both left for AFCON, Liverpool still had to go out and play games. So again, there is a precedent for it happening. And it's not like they're gone for the entire year, that they are going to be back at some point. So your suggestion of maybe 1 game a week, 2 games a week, it's definitely going to slow the league down. But at the same time, I think it would still keep things moving. So I don't hate that solution.
Yeah, it's wait for your stars to return to compete against football, or take advantage of this final month that you have and try to get a few games in and try to keep growing it while it's just baseball you're competing against. So it's an interesting thought, and I see positives for both sides, but I think just cutting your league off and then going right into a time when you're competing against football is just not the answer.
I agree. You were talking about the Team USA men's side and South Sudan. That was almost the upset of the week, the year, the decade, the century. I mean, they were 42 points, and with 10 seconds left, they're down 1 to South Sudan. LeBron goes down, makes a little right-handed reverse kind of layup from the left side. Not reverse, but like inverted. Gets it up on the left side. Team USA wins by 1 point, and they move on. But first of all, just hats off to South Sudan, because their head coach, I believe it is an assistant for the Chicago Bulls, barely had any NBA players on there. There's a guy named Carlik Jones, who I know because he went to Radford, which is 15 minutes from where I went to Virginia Tech. He then did 1 year at Louisville, and he's been in the G League. But he had a triple-double. First time a player has ever had a triple-double against Team USA. And it was just a really good performance out of South Sudan. This is a country that doesn't have a single indoor basketball court. And they were able to go out there and take LeBron James, Steph Curry, Jason Tatum, all these guys to a 1-point game. It was impressive.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Bol is and he's not even playing, but he was their headlining player before he was rolled out, I believe, of just the Olympics. That's embarrassing. And LeBron's walking off the floor. I like these games. This is where we're tested. Like, nah, bro. Come on.
Well, I mean, okay, you can't put that on LeBron, because LeBron had 23, 6, and 6. He was far and away the best player.
I'm not putting it on LeBron. I just don't think we should be like walking off the court pumped that we survived South Sudan. Like saying this is what, and then Curry's like, put the closer on him, put the closer on him. Whatever. Like, guys, you almost got beat as a 43-point favorite. Like, realistically, you got beat by half of what you should. They covered. You're probably gonna score about 100 points, right? Like, probably that would score more, but that was like half. The spread was half of that. They were expecting this game to probably be a 120 to a 80 game, like 670 probably if you're covering. It's crazy.
Yeah, this does go back to the globalization of basketball, like no doubt about it. The world is just catching up in terms of overall talent. That being said, South Sudan should not be one of the teams that's catching up. If you want to say France with Wemby, or if you want to say Serbia with Jokic, or Germany or Canada, some of these, that's okay. And no disrespect to South Sudan, because again, they played great. It was just a great game for them, great execution, not trying to take anything away from them, but their level of talent isn't even close to what the USA has. And this does happen in the US. It hits the US the hardest because players have to change their style of play so much. This is why I honestly think, there's the whole controversy with should Jaylen Brown be on the team. Even though I think he did deserve it more than Derek White, I liked them picking Derek White more, because the role Derek White is going to play here for Team USA is the role he plays for the Boston Celtics. When you've got Steph Curry and Joel Embiid and LeBron James and Jason Tatum and Devin Booker all in the same starting lineup, at least 3 of those guys are trying to learn completely different roles. And if we fast forward a year, if this team practiced together for a year, then they would probably beat every team by 60 points in the Olympics. But that's not what's happening. They get a couple weeks of a training camp. They get a week and a half, 2 weeks of warm-up games, and then they're out there. And again, you've got LeBron, who averages like 25, 8, and 8, trying to become a 10, 5, and 5 player. Joel Embiid was scoring 36 points a game. Now he only needs to score 12, but he's got to play defense, and there's new rules. And so it's just a lot of change coming, and that's part of the reason why you see the USA take a step back, usually at the start of these competitions.
Still no excuse, though. I agree with that. It's hard to take a bunch of stars and put them into, one team and then have them go out and play. It's still no excuse. So this would be, I think if you were talking college basketball, this is like 10 times worse than a 6-team beating a 1.
Well, if they had lost, I can't say that because they did win, but if they let's just say LeBron's shot gets blocked and they lose that game, then absolutely. That's worse than FDU beating Purdue.
Oh yeah, probably 10 times worse because the U.S. has only lost so many games on the Olympic stage.
They've lost 6 games in Team USA history, and three of those were in one Olympics. The down year 2004, the one that everybody talks about, they lost 3 games. So if you just take out 2004 and you go back to their first appearance in 1920, whatever, they've only lost 3 times.
Yeah. It's wild. So looking at the odds for their next game, Germany International Showcase -15.5. That's 3:00 today. I would probably take US -15.5. We're not betting it. I'm not betting it, but I would probably take that.
No, and we talked about on the show a good strategy. One of my favorite strategies for betting on Team USA at the Olympics was to take the underdog spread early in the tournament. And this South Sudan game was a big reason why. That being said, I mean, Germany, as weird as it sounds, like there are more NBA players on Germany. So I think almost there's going to be a level of comfort and familiarity for USA because they're going to, know what these guys play like and everything. And also, I just think they know that they can't play the way they just did. And so I'm sure they'll be drawing up some different options for them. And yeah, I would expect the USA to bounce back, have a big win here. But like you said, I'm not betting on that.
No. All right, Grant. Well, in our final few minutes of the show, we're going to talk about Nick Castellanos, who he hit a home run when Trump tried to get the assassination attempt, and then he hit another home run, I believe, when Joe Biden stepped down, right?
Not stepped down, announced he wasn't seeking re-election, but yes.
And he just keeps hitting home runs during these big moments, which is awesome.
Yeah, so Nick Castellanos, 32-year-old outfielder for the Philadelphia Phillies. He's a solid player, but he's hitting 230-something at the plate, which I know batting average isn't as important as it used to be these days, but he's only got 14 home runs. That ties him for 55th in all of baseball, so it's not exactly like he's a slugger. For anybody who doesn't know where the legend of Castellanos started, it started in August 2020. The Cincinnati Reds play-by-play announcer was caught on a hot mic using a homophobic slur. He was in the middle of apologizing for that, and he interrupted his own apology to call Nick Castellanos hitting a home run. It's the famous quote, "And there's a deep drive into left by Castellanos." Since then, Tanner, I've got a list. There was a tweet going around, I don't know if people saw it, that had a timeline of all the major events Castellanos had hit a home run during. I took that and I actually expound on it in an article I wrote. Just to give you a rundown, this is in the last 3.5 years, really, I guess the last 4 years. Since the middle of 2020, Castellanos has hit a home run during the apology for the homophobic slur. He hit a home run the at-bat after Fernando Tatis Jr. suffered the career-threatening injury, during a eulogy for a World War II veteran, during a 9/11 tribute video, during the announcement that a Toronto Blue Jays pitching coach was arrested for DUI, like 3 minutes after Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Academy Awards, the day that Dwayne Haskins died, during a Memorial Day tribute, the day that Vince Scully, arguably the greatest sports announcer ever, passed away, the day that Queen Elizabeth II died, during a eulogy for the longtime Atlanta Braves announcer, during a tribute for the father of the Kansas City Royals equipment manager, during an announcement a team's owner had cancer, the day that the 5 people died during the implosion of the Ocean Gate submarine, on the anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima. He hit 2 home runs on the anniversary of the bombing of Nagasaki, the day that Trump was shot in the ear, and the day that Biden withdrew from the election.
It's a hell of a resume.
I don't know if you saw this, Tanner. Castellanos was plus 800 to hit a home run yesterday. After Biden withdrew, FanDuel took his odds from plus 800 to plus 600.
That's wild. That's crazy.
When's the last time? Because sportsbooks don't care about all that. They don't care about outside noise. There's this thing of like, if so many people in the public are on one side, you got to go with the other because the sportsbook sees something you don't. And it's all about math and data and statistics. They usually never care about this stuff. They drop the odds purely because Biden withdrew from the upcoming election.
It's crazy. I mean, that's awesome though. It's Nick Castellanos that's kind of become his best accomplishment in the big leagues right now.
Do you know what happened the day Castellanos hit his first home run?
No.
That was the same day the US killed bin Laden.
That's awesome. Like, that's the way it's gone for him. It's crazy to think and I guess you can like find stuff and find events if you want to, but these are all major events.
And it's happening in real time. You know, it's not retroactive like, oh, look at what we missed here. It's like this happens and this happens. The Chris Rock Will Smith thing, literally within 5 minutes of it happening, Castellanos hit a homer. And then yesterday, not only did he hit the home run, it was the 9th inning with 2 outs. And I don't know if you saw it. It was a terrible pitch. It was so low under the strike zone. He had to rake it out. It looked like he swung at like half power and he still got it out of the yard.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is we would have never even like put these events together if it wasn't for the apology.
The deep drive into left.
Yeah, we wouldn't be talking about how Nick Castellanos does until it became a meme with that guy. We wouldn't be talking about all these events.
I wonder what happened because, again, it's in 2011, he hits the home run the day bin Laden dies, and then we just don't even pay attention until it happened. The apology happens in the middle of 2020. I wonder if that trend happened up until the apology. I wonder what happened from 2011 to 2020.
Yeah, I don't know. Something probably.
Is the world going to be a better place when Nick Castellanos retires?
No, because honestly, he does it after the fact. Like he's a national hero because he takes attention away from these major events that are happening to give us to round us around the game of baseball.
That's not a bad take. That's not a bad take. Nick Castellanos is an American hero.
He's an American hero. Nick Castellanos is an American hero. But Grant, you take us out of here today.
Guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Ride the Line. Tara and I appreciate you all being here. Make sure that you do hit that like button. Also hit that subscribe button so you never miss out when we post. We will catch you all in the next episode of Ride the Line.